we got this suction line. This thing's gonna be a mess, guaranteed. This is gonna have oil in it, and there's still oil in the tank. Right now I just want to get this loose and then stand it up over here so it's up out of the way. Again, I see plumbing fittings. There's no swivels, so I couldn't even tell you how they got this thing put together. Really need to cut this hose. I got enough room here. I'll see if I can cut it with some bolt cutters. Hopefully this will go fast and not smoke too bad. We got this pinched down and tight, so it might go pretty quick. Well, I must say that was the way to go. Absolutely. Now maybe we can get this off of here. This is definitely a regular pressure line that you shouldn't use for your suction line. Okay? The reason why, see, you got this rubber on the inside liner, but that's not really embedded to the wire. So you get the suction on there, it'll try to collapse that hose, it'll suck pieces of rubber off, it can pinch. You can send rubber through your pump and stuff like that. You don't want to do that. Overall, it looks like on the inside here, this hose was okay. But I'm going to put proper suction line on here. Yeah, I grabbed the right wrench first time. Excellent. Oh wow, that's a through bolt. Well, that was easy. Wow. This valve body, or this body on the back for your ports, prevents you from taking the through bolts out. Don't know what kind of pump it is. I assume whatever ironworks this is, that's just the maker of this fitting. I'd hate to have to take the system apart here just to dismount the pump if a bolt broke. That's not very nice. Well, let's open this thing up and see how bad it is. I'm sure we ain't fixing it, but we might as well look inside it while we're here. See what we got. Alright, some rust and corrosion in the center. That doesn't matter. I see some rust right here in this port. That's the pressure port. Oh man, look at it. I don't know if you can see all that. Man, there is a lot of rust in there. So this thing has had some water in it or something. Probably why the pump's no good. I bet the pump's corroded out. Might as well see what's wrong, because it ain't developing enough pressure. Nor am I with this really short socket. I'll be back. Let's see if we can cheat. Yay! All the same length, so we don't care what hole they go back in. Oh yeah, there's a big chunk out of it there. And there. Or those are the lube ways. You have a way for oil to get to the back, so it can lubricate that shaft. Oh man, there's rust inside there. Yeah, that's not good. A lot of rubbing and wear. Okay, there's gear. Oh, that gear's rusty. Backside's got some wear too. Not a lot. Oh yeah, look at that. Edge of that tooth just completely corroded. I can feel how rough it is. Oh yeah, look at that. It's inside there. Oh shoot. More light. There, you can see down on the bottom here where it's just rubbed and wore. So this pump has just ate itself because it got corroded. There was corrosion in there. The gears just completely ate this housing right here. And once you do that, you can't develop any pressure because that's going to be the seal against the side of this gear. That's a real close tolerance thing. So that pump's no good. There ain't no saving it. You'd need a whole new housing, and you ain't gonna save these either because they're corroded. So yeah, that's just a junk pump. No way around it. It's no good. I was editing the video and realized I could have done a better job of tearing into this pump and showing how the lubrication for the pump actually works. Okay, so in the bottom of that journal, see there's a hole in the back corner there. There's another one on this side. So those are the shaft journals for the gears. Those are connected, those holes, those are these holes on the pressure port side. So once the pump is pumping, it has oil and pressure, oil will backflow through those holes and come up in these journals to lubricate these shafts and keep this pump running. On the front housing, there's this little copper looking plate here. It has a bunch of small holes in it. So there, and there. Same thing on the other side. There's 3 small holes, and then there's 2 bigger holes in the middle. Alright, this hole is on the pressure side, this one, so that when the pump again is pumping and making pressure, oil goes down in that galley and under the plate. These are all very shallow channels. It seems like this might be a phenolic resin or something. I'm not exactly sure, but it's below the surface. So oil would definitely be under this plate and pushing the plate up towards the gears. I don't know that that's the intent, but that is what would happen. And then this hole goes down and then it goes that way. It's blind. I can't see exactly where it comes out, but I think it's connected to this hole here at the bottom of this journal, which that hole comes out on the other side. Both of these journals have a little bit of a slot in them. That allows the oil to flow out and re-enter the pump and be used. And then on this side, which is the discharge for that, there's a spring, and then there's a ball in there because it has a seat, and that's a check valve. if we flip this around, note this is the shaft side. There are a couple O-ring seals there to keep the oil in. And then the interesting part, I was wondering what these screws were for in the front. I got those out. And that's just one of the holes for the locating pin. Goes right through, you can hit that. There's this plate, and there's the seals again. Get the light here. There we go. So there's two O-ring seals there. Then inside this thing, there's a paper gasket and a whole lot of dirt. That's probably why this pump failed. I don't know where all this dirt came from. Then right here, that's a hole. That hole, there we go, goes through to the check valve hole. And then that hole is the top journal. So oil would actually come down, fill this chamber up, and then backflow through this journal to lubricate that shaft via the slot. And then the paper seal and that would hold all the oil inside along with these O-rings here. Excellent opportunity here. Right under this bench I got a shelf, and sitting on it are some hydraulic components, one of which is this hydraulic pump. It's a Webster that my dad had. He just gave to me a couple of years ago for another project I was working on, and I ended up not using it. He has taken this pump apart, and he had just found there was a chunk of aluminum filing inside of it, and that had locked it up. But he says everything else about it is still good. Alright, so this is the pressure port side. That's 1/2 inch, so we can still use our little 45-degree elbow just like we had on the other one. The suction side is 1 inch, and I have 3/4 suction hose. So I'm concerned that this might be a really high volume pump. It's got one heck of an inlet port here. Hopefully I don't end up cavitating. I don't think I will, because we're running it so slow it's not going to matter. This mounting flange, the bolts line up perfect, the round is perfect, so it's going to fit the existing mount that the old pump was on. And check this out, 5/8 or 3/4 inch shaft, just like the pulley. Now this is again that junky pulley. It doesn't even have a keyway in it. They just mount these on with a set screw. This has got a keyway. I gotta go get I'm gonna get a 1 inch street L, and then a 3/4 inch to 1 inch bushing, so I can use my inlet nipple here. This is the one place where it's acceptable to use plumbing fittings and hydraulics. Standard plumbing fittings is on suction side. The key is, do not use the zinc galvanized. Get black iron. That galvanized stuff, the zinc will flake off on the inside of the pipe, and then you'll suck chunks of zinc and trash your pump. You don't want to do that. So I'm going to go get a fitting, and I'm going to see if I can find a better pulley. If I can't, we'll just pull this key, and I'll set screw it for now so we can test it today. But then I'll go ahead and order, if I can find a proper cast iron pulley for this, so that we're not using this junky one and we're actually using a keyway. So this pump is good. I can turn it by hand. It's nice and tight like it should be. So I think this is going to be the ticket for something to work here. Alright, we got some pipe fittings now after a short trip to the hardware store. Kind of a disappointing trip. On my way out to the highway, there's this place that about a month ago there popped up a whole bunch of old antique tractors. I'm talking things from the 20s and 30s. A lot of steel wheel tractors. This guy had died and he just had tons of these things, along with all kinds of tools. There was a few gantry cranes, an old 60s truck that I was interested in. There was a whole bunch of stuff I would have bought there, and I would have got some guys from back home to come down to check it out. But there was an auction going on today, and they never advertised it. And it's sad because I had stopped and I actually met the woman who was responsible for getting the auction set up, and I talked to her. She was disgusted that everything was going for a little bit of nothing, but they only had 20 or 30 bidders there, and so you aren't going to get much money when you don't advertise an auction. So they were just finishing up when I was there. There wasn't anything left that I was interested in getting, so that was really disappointing, honestly. But got me some fittings for this pump, so that's good, I guess. Alright. Good way to take these keys out is just with a set of diagonal cutters. You can just pry them right out. The hardware store didn't have a pulley that was going to work, so I'll probably end up ordering one, but we'll put this one on there for now. Once we get this pump mounted up down there, then we'll tighten this fitting up and get the other one put in. Put those bolts through from the front, then the ends won't interfere with the pulley if they're too long. They didn't have a street L at the hardware store, but they had this reducing elbow. It goes from 1" down to 3/4. That's going to work just fine. Boy, that looks pretty dirty. Big chunk of rubber there, or something. Yeah, that's not good. Piece of rust or paint. Looks close. Does it fit? It does. Excellent. We got a clean filter on this machine now. Helps if you have the wrench the right way. Another thing with these strap wrenches, if you get up here high where there's rolled steel, it won't collapse the filter as bad. Now we can figure out how long this return line needs to be. I bought 6 foot, even though I only need 3, because I wanted to give myself some room, because there's that shelf that goes on up here, and I don't want to interfere. It looks like it's going to be fine. Alright, we can get everything pulled back in good. Alright, I need to mark that. Black on black, this will be great. Right there. Okay, there's our mark. You can just cut this stuff with a hacksaw. So there's the cross section of this. Notice there is some metal in here. That's just reinforcement to keep it together. This is rubber hose. It's all bonded on nylon layers here. This is purpose-made hydraulic suction hose. This is what it's for. This is the right stuff. There's no wire braids in here or anything. This is all a monolithic piece. With the wire braids, you'll have the wire and the inner tube just sits in there and it doesn't really stick to the wire, so it can just suck down. So this is the right stuff. That clamp's too short. Apparently not the same size as that other one. You can always make one clamp out of two. You want your belt to be straight and your pulley in line so you aren't adding any axial thrust to anything. And I already poured the oil in, so we should be ready to plug this in and fire it up and see what happens. Gonna let the oil start flowing into the tank again. Alright, I hear it now. Let's see what we get. Alright, 600 pounds and our belt slips. That's a good sign. Need to tighten the motor. Alright, try number 2, tighter motor. 1,000 pounds and the motor stalls. No, it doesn't. The shaft's spinning. I thought I had the key on there. I gotta see what's going on. Alright, let's go again. Alright, 1250 and we stall the motor. Alright, our first job, we got the old plate here. It's only a 1/2 inch plate, but it's on upside down with this 2-inch bar on here. We're going to try to push, see if we can straighten that plate out. The speed is pretty good, I don't mind that. Let's try a smaller block. Now, that's locking the motor up again. Well, it's better than it was. I'm going to have to order a larger pulley for the pump here. So the motor has a better chance. It'll be easier for the motor to turn in it. It'll slow my speed down, but really you don't want a hydraulic press to be very fast anyway. So I'll see, that's an 8-inch pulley. I'll see if I can get a 10 or a 12. 12 would probably be better. Do I even have room for 12 would be the question. Yes, a 12-inch pulley would go. Probably have to cut out part of the shelf and make another guard for around that. but I could go 14, 15. I want to see, I move this thing around with my pallet jack. I don't want that pulley to interfere with the jack. Let's see what that does. I've only got about an 1.5 inches of diameter till it hits my jack, so that's no good. I can definitely make feet for this thing to raise it up, so I'll be able to get the jack under there. But I'll have to make a spacer or something, or just know that I need to put a piece of wood in here or something so that I don't lift on that pulley. Who knows? I might I get the bigger pulley. I could use the same belt if I just move it closer to the motor, so I might re-drill these holes closer to give me more room over here too. So I gotta order something.